Network, where we are the worldwide community empowerment group where we speak life into the community. Log us on WCEG Watch us live on your smart television, on Roku, cable channel, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, now on Fanbase and Blue Skies. Search us for WCEG and subscribe to all social media outlets. I am your host for the next hour. My name is Damita Chatman. Uh, this is the disclaimer. Anything that is said is the opinion of the host and guest and not the show producer. Uh, so today I want to say thank you guys for taking my call. I want to thank Dr. Jackson for taking the call, and I also want to say thank you for these great women. I'm gonna say that of the city of South Fulton that took the call when I put it out on Facebook. And so today's show we're going to be talking about autism. And I heard Dr. Jackson, and she just moved me to do a show. So I'm going to give everybody a minute to say their name and then give a little brief, and then we're going to go into the show. I'm going to start with Dr. Jackson.
Uh, I'm Dr. Claudreen Jackson, and I am thanking you so much for what you're doing for autism. I've been the parent of an autistic child for 49 years who is not a success story. I'm the success story, but my son is not. He's 49. He still can't read, write, talk, or live independently. And I've written a book about him inspired by autism. But he was 30 before I could use inspired and autism in the same sentence together. So I am stronger, wiser, healthier. I'm 85. And because of dealing with my son for 49 years, it has made me into a better person than I probably would have been without him. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Devon.
Hi, my name is Devon Lee. I live here in the city of South Fulton. My son name is Kyle. Kyle is now 13 years old. He was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3. So we've been on this journey now for about 10, well, I'll say 13 years because we had to get there first. But we as a parent, I'm very mindful about advocating and building onto Kyle's village. So and I'm happy to be here today to talk to you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't see the next person. I think I go with Mary.
Hi, my name is Mary Norris. I live in South Fulton, and I am late diagnosed. This is my first time being here in the interview, and I'm grateful that I'm here. And thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Mary. Mrs. Norris. Karen. Is she still on?
Yeah, she's on mute.
Unmute, Karen.
I'm sorry, I didn't know it was on mute.
Okay.
I apologize. I am for real a proud parent right now. My daughter is late in her diagnosis. Um, and this is just wonderful that she was very nervous to be on a few minutes ago, but she identified herself and was very clear. So I feel so happy right now. She's come a long way. She has a long way to go, but I'm sure she's gonna do it. She's gonna be all right.
Oh yeah. Well,
Man.
I'm gonna tell you, I've never met Mary in person, but when you told me that, I'm gonna have to see her in person because I just can't believe it. But let me go to Dr. Jackson. I want her to start it off because I believe when she set this tone, she's gonna give especially Devin that inspiration to move forward. Miss Jackson, could you tell us a little bit about your story with your son?
Yes. He was born when I was 35 years old, and I had 4. He was my 4th, and I thought he was going to be the easy child because I had 3 older children. But it turned out that he was born in 1975, which is the year they quit putting severe autism in institutions. So there was no help in the community, and there was no advice that the doctors could give me about what to do. So I learned from teachers, special ed teachers, how to handle his behavior. In 75, it was 1 in 10,000 people born with autism. Now it's 1 in 100 or less. And I have no idea how autism expanded so greatly. So I say that my son is not a success story because he's 49. He cannot read, write, talk, or live independently. But I had to learn to accept the person that he is. And he could not adjust to me. So I had to learn to adjust to him. And I'm a much better person for that.
Thank you. Now, go to Devon. Devon, when did you notice about Cal?
When Cal was, I say that I didn't really notice anything because I had not been around children before and knew what metrics they were supposed to be hitting at certain ages or developmentally where they should have been. So he was, he was still a very like independent baby. He was extremely busy. We would go and play a lot at the parks, and that is kind of like when I noticed that he wouldn't engage with other children. And so his pediatrician at the time, she said to me, that she wanted to get him tested for autism. And I I was like, okay. So we had to wait a year before we got the diagnosis. And at that time, we had a 5-hour visit, and then we had to go back for a 3-hour visit here at the Marcus Autism Center here in Atlanta. And that is when, my life was basically changed forever.
Okay. Do he go to a Fulton County
Yes.
school?
So now he's in middle school now. Okay. And he goes to a South Fulton school, and he has amazing educators. He always has, actually. I know that a lot of people don't have our story because of the village that we have, but Kyle has just been extremely blessed with all of the educators that he's had, his therapists. They truly are, and it's just not me, playing on words, but they truly are like family. And they have always, like all of his educators from, again, elementary to now middle, they give him unconditional love. And because of Kyle he's considered nonverbal, but the word that I guess the medical terminology is apraxia of speech. Yeah. So he has some words, but he has to be prompted a lot. He uses an assistive technology device, which is a device that he can use to communicate. And so with those things, like sometimes we, deal with a lot of different behaviors, from self-harming to and when I say self-harming, that's like him hurting himself, or sometimes hurting and hitting others. But again, through all of that, like I said, he does have a village that loves him unconditionally, and I probably wouldn't even be here today without them, to be honest.
And I think that village reached out to me and gave us the numbers. So thank you.
One of the City of South Fulton police officers, Captain Williams. Yeah.
Karen, let me ask you a question. You said your daughter was on later in life. What made you notice something? How did you know that?
We thought it was a learning disability, simply. We got a new doctor, and the doctor thought that she was on the spectrum, that she had ASD. And that prompted me to really start taking her around and trying to get her the help that she needed, because she masked a lot. And it's been a journey. But we actually met someone at one of the other councilmen. He had an autistic fair a couple of weekends ago, and we met someone who was diagnosed when she was 38 years old.
Mm.
And she has two children. One is nonverbal, one is verbal, but very special. She has she needs special care. And so she's been giving us a whole lot of help. So I think she's going to forever be in our life because she really was able to allow my daughter to see part of her village.
Okay.
That as much as I've taught her that she's different, but everyone is different.
Yeah.
Everyone has something. Your difference does not make you bad or worse or below someone. We're all just different people. That's the way God created us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So she was able to connect, if you will, um, with Natasha the other weekend, Natasha Nelson. She was able to plug in to connect and see, okay, I am absolutely useful. I am absolutely worthy to be here. I'm not, I'm special just because I'm me, not because I have a disability. So it's just been really wonderful. And so Miss Nelson connected us with a lot of different books. And so this has just been a wonderful process. Like I said, I'm really beaming from ear to ear because I did not think she would be able to come on and speak her truth. And that's what I always advocate for her. Speak your truth. Speak your truth. She's well spoken when she wants to be.
Oh,
Beautiful.
Well spoken.
I didn't have a conversation, and yes, she is. And some of the stuff that I've heard her do,
Yes.
I be like, really? Is it really that? Let me ask you a question, Miss Jackson. Do you think that in our culture that we don't pay attention to things like this, and we kind of put it in the back burner or don't talk about it when there's help out there to help these kids?
If possible, we tried to put it on the back burner. But my son's behavior was so challenging. He was one of the self abusers. I don't know if anyone has a child that's self abusive. He'd hit his head on the floor and he'd scratch himself and he'd scratch me. And he was so self abusive that I didn't think that anything was going to change the situation. But once we got him on the right medication, and I know there's ABA behavior programs now, but there weren't back then. There was nothing. Mm-hmm. So we started the Pervis Jackson Jr. Autism Foundation. I don't know if any of you are old enough to know about the Spinners. The Spinners were a top singing group at Motown.
Yes. Yes.
And Pervis Jackson Jr. cannot know anything that his dad accomplished. So we have a foundation, Pervis Jackson Jr. Autism Foundation. You can find us at pervisjackson.com. You can find us at hello@pervisjackson.org. Pervis is Pervis, pervisjackson.org. And our foundation helps needy children with not just autism, any handicap. So I was not able to cure my son, and I was not able, many of the treatments that worked on other folks did not work on him. He does not want to talk. He is profoundly autistic. He does not want to talk. So paying for him to go to Detroit Hearing and Speech did not work. And they finally told me they were wasting their time and my money. And I knew that it wasn't clicking, but I thought one day he'd start talking. So I had to learn to adjust to a person that wasn't going to grow and wasn't going to get better. So that was a big depression for me because I thought I can't do this. But here I am. He's 49. I'm 85. We've done it. We're both still smiling. So you never know with one of these children what is ahead for you. And I'm a much stronger, healthier 85-year-old than I would have been if he hadn't come along.
I'm gonna go to Mary, but I want you to say, and this will encourage especially Devon, because her child is a lit. I'm gonna say a little young man, 13. And what got me when you said that it was getting frustrated with you, Miss Jackson, that you used to just hit your head.
Yes. Well, no, he was banging his head on the floor. He was screaming and banging his head on the floor and banging his hands on the floor. And I was so frustrated when I realized it, I was crying and hitting my hands on the wall. He's on the floor banging and screaming, and I'm on the wall banging my hand and saying, oh, I don't know what to do. And it dawned on me, I'm doing the same thing that he's doing. And it's because of my frustration. So that may be what's wrong with him. So I had to learn that when he was doing those things, that I had to leave him because I was feeding into it. He's doing it and I'm doing it too. And once I started walking away from him when he was having those episodes, he started doing better. There's something called mirroring. Now, he used to jump and flap and make all these strange noises. We're talking about late 70s now. Probably some of you weren't even born then yet. But he used to jump and flap and scream, and I would get his hands and hold him down by his side. Then I read this book called Sunrise, Sonrise, that was written by the parent of an autistic person. And he said that we should mirror their behaviors. So next time he was jumping and flapping and screaming, I did the same thing. Well, he didn't like to see me do it any more than that I liked seeing him. So he stopped and came and held my hands down. Wow. So mirroring his inappropriate behavior sometimes did work to help stop the inappropriate behavior.
I'm gonna ask Mary. Mary, tell me some a couple things that you like to do. I know you like to farm and all that stuff. Give me some stuff that you like to do. I know you got them chickens over there and want me to eat some of them eggs. So tell me what you like to do, Mary.
Well, I like to do DIY stuff and create things because I'm like doing things with my hand. So mostly sometimes I will draw or do gardening stuff or taking care of the animals because it brings me joy and comfort to do those things.
Okay. How many chickens you got?
A lot.
Have they laid some eggs yet?
Not yet.
Not yet?
No, ma'am.
I told you I didn't want none of them eggs.
Well, I am so proud of you for being that active and for doing these things. So bless you, darling. You are a great inspiration.
Yeah. Can I also add quickly? When she first was diagnosed, there was some there was belief that playing piano, it helped children that had autism. Right. So I quickly went and bought a piano. I quickly put her in lessons, and it helped a little bit. So she learned a lot. But her secret sauce is her drawing. So her calming time to because she also deals with anxiety. So what calms her is her drawing and now her journaling. And so she's telling the truth when she says she's a very creative young woman. So I think she gets some of that energy out through some of her creativity.
All right.
I like that. Tell me, Devon, what do Cal like to do?
Kyle he's a skater. He loves to swim. He plays baseball with the Miracle League. He's a very active kid. We fly kites. He likes to cook. So he's very independent. Wow. Like I say, a lot of like he's for me, it's always been about life skills.
Mhm.
So we've always just worked with him on being independent, and he's extremely independent. Like he's a little sneaky because he'll like do things or like he
He's been a
last
normal
night, like
kid.
he'll stick things in the air fryer and I don't know it's in there until I smell the food. So yeah, so he's a very independent kid. Very active. I mean, we love being outside at the parks, just finding different activities around the city to engage in. Now that he's older, and I used to I've always, I grew up playing outside, and you just don't see that a lot with kids anymore. So a lot of things, I had a family member say, "You're just trying to get Kyle's childhood to mirror yours." Because even like with the kite, we might go to a park and people are fascinated because they don't know when the last time they saw a kid out there flying a kite. So um a lot of things that I do with him initially, it started outside because that's where it was easy. Outside there's not a lot of, I don't have to do a lot of redirection, and because he can run and he can be free. And so I've just always been intentional about kind of like keeping him busy.
And it's funny for you to say kite because me and my husband were just talking about kite, and I said, "Do kids fly kites?
Oh,
Still
we
fly
have
kites?"
several.
Okay.
We
Let
have
me
Can,
several,
can I
yeah.
show something to Mary? This is two of the books that I've written inspired by autism, and the butterfly, and you see the butterfly poster behind me, but that's PJ's artwork. I was telling you what he
Wow.
can't do,
Beautiful.
but
Yeah.
I use his art to show what he can do. So bless you, darling. Art has been good for him as it has been good for me. And if you go to ClaudreenJackson.tv, this is Autism Month. He was the guest on my television show. If you go to ClaudreenJackson.tv, you can see me and him and my daughter for Autism Month. So I said he can't talk, read, or write, or live independently, but you'll get to see some of the things that he can do as an adult with autism who is still low functioning, which I thought was going to be the death of me. But I wanted him to be cured, but I got cured.
me ask you, Miss Dr. Jackson, uh, tell us where I can get those books off your website, and I'm going to order Mary two of them books, and I want to order me one of each. I'm gonna order 4 books. Could you?
Well, I can. Inspired by Autism is out of print. We're trying to get it reprinted, but it's
Okay.
out of print. But I have copies of the butterfly for you.
Okay. Well, I get me and Mary
Yes,
a copy
yes.
of that. Let me ask you something. How did how was you and your son accepted during the 70s with
Yeah.
Oh, we were very rejected,
okay.
not understood, and people would actually say to me, "You shouldn't bring that boy out. Why do you even bring him out of the house?" And back in the 70s, they were saying that autism was caused by the parent, because I don't know about the rest of you, but autism is not diagnosed immediately. So at some point, as they start getting older, you find out that they have autism. So because there was so little autism, there was so little back then, that I am just amazed at how much it has increased. Now, did I answer your question? You asked me a question.
Yeah, you kind of answered it. You said they didn't they kind of reject you. What about you, Karen and Devin? Because you're not in the 70s. You came up through the
Yeah.
80s and the 90s. Y'all babies. So how did they? How did I'm just
Um,
gonna say this? How did our folks, the black folks, accept?
Miss Devin, I'm gonna let you go on and answer that. I'll answer last.
um, honestly, I've never that's never been a issue for me. I think, listening to Mrs. Jackson's story, and when she said when her son was born, I just understand that, just even through my research and educating myself about autism, I understand what it looked like back then. Down to the diagnosis that they were given, which are words that now we're not supposed to use anymore. Um,
Right.
so language is even constantly changing within the autism diagnosis. When Kyle got diagnosed, it was just, he was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. Now, within the last few years, the DSM-5, which is where they get the diagnosis from, it has now just stated level 1, 2, and 3. So Kyle, even that, I have to look at it. I'm like, okay, Kyle would be considered level 3, just by the definition of the diagnosis now. So when I initially received the diagnosis, my family like rallied around us. We started out strong. We were like doing walks and all of those types of things. And I knew early on that I had to build a village around my son, because if I didn't, I don't know how I would have survived the journey that we've been on. Um, they we have had people where, um again, like I said, from his educators to his therapist, they're still very like hands on with him, even though he's not around them every day. He has a child care provider that he had since he was 2, which she was with us through it all, like before we got the diagnosis and everything. And she's like a second mother to him. We don't his story cannot be told without mentioning her name, Miss Hazel. She was was and is very instrumental in just me even having a peace of mind. There are very few people that live this life where they can say, you hear the story a lot where I'm in support groups, and I hear people say, married couples may say that they haven't been on dates in years because they have family members that will keep their neurotypical children and not their child with autism.
That's right.
That's not our story. When I say village, I mean that because for me it's always been, um I think people think that they want a village around their child, but if you're not fostering those relationships, if you're not allowing people to help you, if you're not allowing people to make certain decisions when it comes to your child, or redirect them, correct them, then a lot of times I think that's why people don't have like a true village around them. But I've just been very intentional about fostering a village, and it just worked wonders for us. It's been amazing for us, really. We are the best support system in the world, I think, really.
Thank you. Okay, Karen, what you say you want to go last on that? So you want to answer that
Um,
question?
I think that there's so many different programs that we did have before Trump got in office. A lot of programs have ended. I know with my daughter it's been challenging because the only problem that they thought that they would address was they said she had an IEP in school. But as far as the village, I was just listening to Miss Devon. Having the right people around you is
Mhm.
more helpful than having people who give a pass, who will say, a lot of people in our community look and say, oh, poor her, oh, poor him, oh, poor them. But they're not really trying to assist to help you have the child not to be like us or be like, but just to be the best that they can be. So we are really growing a stronger village that will not just say, oh, poor them, or try to come in and point the finger of blame and say, well, you're not parenting right. You don't know what you're doing. I can do better. No, every case is different.
Mhm.
We're all different.
Mhm.
And I think the biggest help is love, acceptance, and understanding. For me, that's what's been my saving grace. And like I said, meeting someone else that my child could really relate to and see herself in, that is it's like that's when the tipping point came in for me. And I don't expect her to be atypical. I expect her to be the best her she can be. That's the only thing that I care about. I'm not trying to mold her into someone that she's not. I celebrate the who she is, and especially when she's living authentically out loud.
Yep, I like that. Let me ask you a question. Do you think, and I'm just gonna say our culture right now. Do you think our culture have the same issues or see the same things that you guys saw in your kids, but they tend to just not say anything? They're shame.
Yes,
They think they don't won't be part of the status quo. Do you see that?
yes, yes,
Do you see
yes,
that, Devin?
I do. I think now only because, I'm around like younger kids, right? And so a lot of the times, whether it's the groups that I'm in or there are a lot of parents that are present in being vocal about, them living with a child with autism. I do still think that, like even for me, and I know Miss Jackson had mentioned that about when you have children that self-harm, like when we get, whether it's the news or even through social media, at times you just see the kids that are doing like amazing things that have autism, right? But there is still, I'll say, from being on the spectrum, there's still parts of autism that a lot of people don't show. And it is a lot of the times when we have the children that self-harm, that hit themselves, that are aggressive to, even their parents. Because, no parent thinks that they're going to birth a child that will hit them, right? But unfortunately, some of our children who have communication, issues and stuff like that, they self-harm, they hit others. So though, to me, that is where I see the shame. It sometimes for me, it's not a shame though. It's like it's part of my son's life. I do share visually, like the things that we're doing within the community and stuff like that. I will share verbally, right? Some of those things, but visually I won't show if he's self-harming or, things like that, because I feel like I can tell you that without putting his life online in that way.
I
Well,
agree.
I'm so glad to hear that. I had so many people tell me you should keep that child at home. Why do you
Right.
even bring him out in public? What kind of
Yeah.
mother are you? So for 3 years, I did try to, we're still talking about in the 70s
Yes, ma'am.
when they had just letting them out of institutions. People were telling me you need to put him in an institution. They
Right.
had just started closing the institution. So I was really in a twilight zone of what to do about him. But I do, before we finish, I do want to tell you all some of the things that I've learned from this person, from
And
my
that
son.
and let us go into let us go into that, because I think it would help these parents, and it would help other parents that's watching this, and they can reach out to you. So tell me some of the things that you learned during this process.
I learned from my son what unconditional love really means.
Mm.
He
mm,
loves me whether I've had a shower, whether my hair is combed, whatever my bank account is. He's just a pure little person. And I found out that most of the people with autism are pure people. And with a lot of the disabilities, these people are not scheming or lying or cheating. Although I did find that my son was sneaking out of the house. They say people with autism are only truthful. So I've learned about unconditional love from him. I also learned about living in the moment.
Mm.
He's not
yeah.
worried about yesterday. He's not worried about tomorrow. And it's hard for me I can't completely live in the moment, but I've learned to do better at living in the moment because of him. I've
Mhm.
also learned about what to tune out. Our people with autism, they tune out a lot of stuff. So I
Yeah.
have learned that there are some things I can tune out and not give my energy to, because
Mhm.
it's not it's most people are not living in that situation. So some of the advice that we get is
Mm.
inappropriate
Right.
anyhow. And when I first started speaking out about autism in the 70s, There were no other Black parents talking about it. So I went to the autism conference, the state conference in the state of Michigan, and I was the only Black person there. And they were saying that they thought Black people didn't have autism because most Black parents weren't speaking up about it. And that's how I got to speaking more and more and more about it, because other Black people weren't speaking about it. So I'm glad to see you all being active and sharing your experiences.
Let me
Can I
ask.
say one thing?
Sure,
There's a book called Autistic in Black, Our Experiences of Growth, Progress, and Empowerment by Kayla Allen Omiza,
Thank
which
you.
is a really, really, really good read,
Okay.
because we do have that stigma in our community,
Yeah.
and we have to maneuver a little bit differently than some of our other than other people have to maneuver. In our community, it's a little bit different.
Mhm. Let me ask Mary. Mary. I didn't have a senior moment. I'm gonna come back to Mary
I
because I
apologize.
didn't have a senior moment on her. Mary. Let me ask you a question. Sometimes do you just tune folks out like me? Do you just tune them
Always.
out?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. I'll
See
be zone out or pay attention to something else.
Yes.
okay. I see she's honest. Now, Mary, what school did you go to? Did you go to schools in Fulton County?
Uh, no,
Yes.
I did.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it's just
Okay.
it's north. Yes, she went
Okay.
to. Well, no, it's North Cobb. I don't know why I keep thinking that's Fulton County. She went to
No comment.
North Cobb.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay.
was
She went to
wrong.
North Front.
I stand corrected. Forgive me.
Okay. That's okay.
I want to
Mary,
share, I want to
go on,
share
Missy.
a quick poem that I wrote about my son. I've told you about his behaviors, but when he grew up and got bigger than me and stronger than me, I was glad that I had used techniques to try to control his behavior. But he was standing and he's much bigger than me now. He was holding my shoulders and smiling down at me. And I wrote this poem called A Love So Pure. A love so pure that I am sure it's coming straight from God. This kind of love comes down from above and right into my heart. Your smiling eyes were a big surprise that I never thought I'd see. So who knew that one day you would be smiling down on me? I never thought the day would come when you'd be teaching me. But now I'm sure that when love is pure, it's unconditionally. That's only one of the poems he's inspired me to write.
That's
Well,
beautiful.
I love that.
Yeah, that's
I love
beautiful.
that. Let me ask Devin.
Yes.
Do Cal? You say Cal like to cook?
Yes.
Do he watch the cooking show?
He does. The other night I went in his room and I told somebody I could have cried because when I walked in there to cut his TV down, it was on Food Network. And I was just like, yes, because that's like one of my favorite networks. But yes, he does. He watches like cooking videos on YouTube all day, and now he's watching the Food Network. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
And I wanted to mention to Devin about PJ's cooking. It's
Oh,
nothing
okay.
I ever would have tried to teach him.
Right.
But he started cooking when he was a teenager and he was hitting me. I was cooking him fries. And I said, if you're going to fight, I'm not going to cook for you. And I left the room. He finished cooking the fries and I didn't even know it.
You
And
know,
he's
you
been
take
cooking
them.
ever since. You take him to the
Wow.
market. He does his shopping. He can cook his fries. He can cook. We have the deep fryer now.
Right.
He can cook Bob Evans sausage, the things that he likes. I thought if he couldn't talk, he'd be deprived. But no, you take him shopping, he gets exactly what he wants
I
and he
know.
knows how to cook it.
See,
Right.
they don't know nothing about Bob Evans restaurants breakfast
Oh,
because that's up north in Ohio
that's
and
the only
Detroit.
sausage my son will eat. If they don't have Bob Evans, he won't eat
Won't
any
touch
of
it.
it.
I like that. Now let me ask you, because Mary cooks also.
Yeah.
and I heard that Mary make the best pork chops, and she
Oh.
won't give me that recipe. And I asked her to see. Her mama said in order for her to cook it, she ain't gonna let me see it. She gonna cook it an hour before I get there, so I won't see what she do. So Mary, you like to cook?
Yes, I do. I do.
Tell what things do you like to cook?
Well, anything. Any
She's a really
recipe.
good cook. She
Yeah.
is a really good cook. It does not matter.
Nope.
And she loves to cook healthy. Is that right, Mary?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm not gonna eat the mushrooms.
Uh,
Now let me I'm not there yet, Mary. I still like pigtails and pig feet. I'm not there yet, okay? Look, I saw her look when I say that. I saw that look Mary gave me. Let me ask you, Karen, being in the city of South Fulton, this is for you and Devon, and maybe we can look into this. Do you think it need to be more opportunities to talk about autism and
Yes,
community groups?
yes, yes. I think it's more people that are undiagnosed than are diagnosed these days as you go through as you just go through life. But yes, you see it in South Fulton in different areas with children. And like I said, she was given an IEP all her life, just as though she had a learning disability. And yes, I think there needs to be more opportunity, more outreach. So I'm really impressed with the city of South Fulton Police doing this thing with autistic children and people. I'm really impressed with that because it's needed.
Mhm. Now, someone was talking to me yesterday about something um, that they're going to be putting together. So I'm going to keep you and Devon in the loop of that. I don't want to put it out there until it birth, but it probably gonna be birthed in probably next year or probably this year. Let me ask Miss Jackson a question. Is it a lot of organizations that can help parents uh, that have kids with
When
autism?
that's why we started the Pervis
Mhm.
Jackson Foundation, because there weren't many organizations. Uh, in the beginning, when in the 70s, when I was going to March of Dimes and Children's Center and all the agencies that help children with handicaps, they didn't deal with autism because autistic people had such challenging behaviors and they needed one-on-one attention. So for about 10 years, they closed the institutions in 75, the year that PJ was born. So I think it was until 85, another 10 years before they had services for people with autism. And I want to ask some of you who have younger children how the services are for people with autism.
I can speak to, I know you were just asking about City of South Fulton. So I work a lot with the police department here because of an incident that my son had where he had went into someone's yard. They called a prowler call. The police came. Kyle was doing echoleo, which is where he repeats back what someone says to
Yes.
him. So the
Mm,
officer assumed that he was being like a smart aleck or whatever, and
mm,
he ended up actually putting like a handcuff on him right
mm,
before I got to the door. And so just making that story shorter than it
mm.
is, but we ended up going to the police department. Chief Meadows here in the city of South Fulton, he got like basically they got right on it. They now have a 5-hour mandatory autism training in the city of South Fulton for people
Awesome.
on the autism spectrum. We also advocated and they have implemented. There's something called Project Lifesaver. So for children in the city of South Fulton, also elderly with like dementia or Alzheimer's, they can go and get this bracelet, which is called Project Lifesaver. And if they ever are to wander off, they're able to find them through radio
Oh,
activity.
I
yes,
love
that would have been really needed back in
Yes,
my day.
absolutely. Yeah.
But
I
I
like
told
that.
everyone about my son's condition. So, and I'm 85, so I kept him with me until I was 75. And I'm doing good, but I have some of the same senior problems that adults have, that seniors have. So I did not want to place him in a group home. I placed him in a group home when I was 75 years old, but he's with me 1 week out of every month that I can handle. So I can make sure that his behavior doesn't regress and that he's happy where he is. So this is not the outcome that I wanted or that I was striving for, but it was the outcome that I had to accept.
Well, I think I don't know you, but just looking at you, I think you did wonderful. I'm gonna tell you, you did wonderful. And 85 years old, I'm gonna have to get my put a pep up my game. Let me ask you a question, parents, and I'm gonna ask all you guys. Do you think that uh, kids that didn't get vaccinated developed this, or did the vaccinations cause this?
The vaccination caused it with PJ. I know that from the time he got his vaccination at 12 months, he was sick, and they said he'll be sick for a while, but he got worse and worse and worse. And back when I was speaking to all parents with autism, I was very active because I thought I was going to find the cure. There are other parents who know that the vaccine caused their child's autism. I even wrote about it in my book that I know that the vaccine caused his autism, but I don't suggest not doing the vaccine because that's a bigger problem. I have 4 children. They all had the vaccine, but only one ended up with autism. So I know that's what caused it, but I don't advise, people to not vax.
What you think, Karen? Then I go to Devin. What you think, Karen?
I'm still doing research on it. So I'm still collecting data. I don't have a for sure yay or nay. I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay. What about Devin?
Um, that's one rabbit hole that I don't necessarily go down because I don't, um, yeah, I don't want to. I know that it's very, it's a thing, right? People talk about it, whether they, think it has to do with genetics, the vaccines and different things. Because the one thing I will say, even when I heard Miss Jackson say, like, back then it was like 1 in 10,000, but she also spoke to parents not, that shame that was attached to it. So parents not getting their children diagnosed,
Yeah.
right? So when we say now it's 1 in 36, it's just that more children are being diagnosed at this point than they were,
Back
years
then, yeah.
ago. So for me, it's just not a rabbit hole I go down. I go through, I do kind of follow the science. Um, Therapy has been a saving grace for my family. So we just kind of go with that. I don't.
And I looked at it. You're right, because I was reading up on it this morning, and
Yeah.
it's 1 in 36. Let me ask you a question. Does the insurance help take care of the issues that's going on? Could you go
You're
to the
saying
doctor and the
insurance,
insurance?
yes. hmm So Kyle has Medicaid.
Okay.
Um, and so it has covered most of his, therapeutic care. Now there are some things depending on Kyle did like equine therapy, which is with horses. He's done different therapies that were not covered by insurance, so you have to, pay out of pocket. But for the most part, like his speech, his OT, um, his speech therapy, occupational, and behavior therapy. If we go to a place that accepts it, they do take his insurance.
Okay. What about you, Karen?
I have and insurance has covered some, but I've been basically out of pocket because whatever I hear and if someone is saying is good, I'm all heads in because I want to help her. So sometimes I don't even wait for the insurance. It's like, okay, let's try this.
Right. And I did a lot of things out of pocket because back then there wasn't much available. So I don't know, the newer parents can tell me about what's available now, but there were people that turned him away. He was put out of a program for special needs children. He was put out of 2 or 3 things that were made for children with special needs, and they wouldn't keep him. So I went through the, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? But Detroit Special Ed Department came to my rescue. In the Special Ed Department, they took people with severe problems, such as my son, at age 3. But if they knew that your child had a disability, they started with you right after you got out of the hospital. But autism is not prevalent, is not obvious in the beginning. But because of the Detroit Special Ed Department and a lot of the offers that, a lot of the things that they did that helped my son. But it wasn't Detroit Special Ed. It was Garden City was the only autism program in Wayne County. And Wayne County is the biggest county in the state of Michigan. The only autism program was at Berger School in Garden City, and the children were bused out there. So that's the education my son had. But by the time he was 20, Detroit had their own autism program. And now there's so many autism programs that it's just unbelievable. But back when in 75 and 76, there was nothing.
Let me ask you, because you just said something, and when you say that, Miss Jackson, I thought about somebody that I know that's dear to me. She takes care of her brother, and I've never heard her say that he's autistic. We label artistic as being the word back in the day, retarded.
Yeah.
And so you just said something, and that's what stuck out to me, because back in the day, you know how our culture, all they retarded, or
well, it was it was a diagnosis mentally.
It
They
was
they
mental,
said it
mental
was
retardation. You're
but
right.
it
my
was a
son
diagnosis.
does have retardation, or he would have been able to learn how to read and write and talk. But the retardation and the autism, where he doesn't want to do these things, that's why he's still low functioning at age 49. So I didn't want to write a book about it, but my husband kept saying it. I said it's not a success story. Most of the books in the autism community are, this is how I cured my son, or this is what helped me. Well, I couldn't say that, but I wrote the book anyhow for parents who are not able to get their child out of autism like I wasn't. I thought I could change him, but he changed me.
and I think parents like you guys, I think you shed light and give people that encouragement, even with Mary, because living in the days now, we want to be a part of the who's who in the cronyism, and we try to put a band-aid on stuff like that, but it's real. And some of the families that right in our city, Devon and Karen, they have the same issues that you have. They just don't want to admit they have those.
Right.
You agree with me?
Yes.
And can I say to Karen how proud I am of you? Karen is the mother, right?
Yes.
I'm so proud of you, darling. I am so proud of you because she's doing well because of you. So bless you.
No, ma'am. She's doing well because of God and herself. I'm just an instrument.
I would have
ma'am.
loved for PJ to be like her, but
And we gonna get Devon. We gonna get Devon and Cal on the show, and We just
Oh.
we just gonna let him be himself. You know, it's
Oh,
okay
yeah.
because I believe people need to see your story and hear your story.
If you go to ClaudreenJackson.com, you can see this PJ and me, and you see a lower functioning person with autism. And I just wanted people to know that there are folks like him in the community.
Yes, ma'am.
And we gonna put that information in the group. And we winding down. I can sit here all day and talk to y'all, Karen, smiling, y'all just smiling, But we got about 10 minutes. Let me ask Mary. Mary, do you see your Karen gonna get me? Your mama gonna get me, but I'm gonna go on that. Do you see yourself how old are you, Mary?
I'm 26.
Do you see yourself? I see it. Do you see yourself in about 10 years, probably married and
I
going
see it.
on
Yeah.
normal?
Yeah.
I
I
see
I
see
it.
really
it.
do.
I see it.
I
I'm
see
not
it.
gonna get you. I see it.
I see it. Let me
Yeah.
ask you because Mary is in the church. She does. Mary, just tell the you do the chickens and you just built something from DI. What kind of projects do you just did? What kind of project? Give me two projects.
Um. Well, I rewired downstairs.
Yes.
You did
Yes.
what?
Yeah, I rewired downstairs.
Wait. Tell the story. She took her and my niece, they took a class, a course through the South Fulton workforce in electronics. Her teacher helped her. They rewired my whole basement.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Wow.
She started working with him. She can do
Mhm.
flooring. He showed her how to do it once.
Wow.
Yeah.
She can put down tile herself. She can do drywall. She
That's
can power
amazing.
wash.
Woo!
Oh,
That's
We
awesome.
have
Mhm.
around our house, it is a rehab. She and we've put up fences. There is not too many projects. We help build my shed, my she shed. There's not too many
Wow.
projects that she is not instrumental or able to do herself.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Let me tell you, Devin and Karen, we gonna stay in connect, and
Okay.
we gonna talk later, but we gonna be doing some stuff and getting with this other young lady that's in the city of South Fulton. In
Okay.
closing, I'm going to give Dr. Jackson her closing remarks so she can tell y'all how to, if you need resources, what to do and which way to go. Dr. Jackson.
yes, you can come to pervisjackson.org. PERVIS, pervisjackson.org. Hello at pervisjackson.org is how you can apply for help, because Pervis Jackson Jr. Autism Foundation, you can go to our website and you can apply for help from us, and we make it very easy for the parents. We call ourselves the comfort charity, because we don't make parents go through a lot of stuff. We are presenting many grants. So if you know anybody that has a child, not just autism, any disability, they can get a mini grant from the Pervis Jackson Foundation. You can see my shows on ClaudreenJackson.tv, and you can see Pervis Jr. and some of his merchandise, because we took some of his artwork and put it in merchandise, which wasn't my idea. I never would have thought of that, but it's also on the website. So to you parents that are out speaking about this, thank you so much, because this is what I needed when I was going through it in the 70s.
Awesome.
Okay, great. Go, Devin.
Yes.
You can
Um,
close your remarks.
Oh, I was just gonna say that Kyle and I, due to the incident that I spoke about with the police officer here in the city of South Fulton, we also wrote a book, a children's book, and it's called Kyle's Village Wheels of Change, and you can find that on Amazon.
Beautiful.
Okay, and I'm going to get that book.
Okay.
I'm going to get that book, and I want it autographed.
Okay.
Karen.
You can see me and my daughter Mary always at most community events. We work a great deal with the majority of the council people out here, but mainly with Natasha Williams Brown and Linda Pritchett. So we went through the Citizens Police Academy, both Mary and myself. She did great. You could just see us in the community. So
like
we
that.
didn't write a book, but I'm still yet watching this young lady, this beautiful young woman, just blossom into who God wants her to be. So I couldn't be a prouder parent. I couldn't be any prouder.
And I want to thank you, Ms. Chapman, for having this show. Bless you for
Thank
this.
you.
I greatly appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Thank you. Mary, I'm gonna give you your last closing remarks. What you got to tell me, Mary?
Well, I'm very grateful that I'm here, and it's like my first experience to be on this interview and everything.
Okay.
And I'm very happy. I'm more in peace with it
Okay.
to get more understanding.
Well, I saw that beautiful picture of you when you went to that officer's service the other day, and you was stunning. That's all I'm gonna say. I want to say thank you guys for coming today, taking my call. We're gonna stay in contact. I'm gonna stay in contact with all you guys. Anything that you want to chat about, you can chat. The YouTube going to be available. I want to thank you guys for taking call. Miss Jackson, you keep on doing what you do. I want to look as good as you when I get 85 years old. I might not be, kind of sprout like you, but I'm going to try my best. Thank you, Karen and Devin. Thank you, Mary.
Oh, you're welcome.
Again, thank you guys so much for coming on, and keep doing what you're doing, taking care of Cal. And me, you, Cal, and Mary, we're going to do a show and talk about that food and let him let us talk about that food. I like to eat and I like to cook. Again, thank you so much for coming. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.